In my academy, we have many different forms that we can do on your own, solo training forms. There's also many forms that are done with a partner. These forms are forms that we designed that can be done on your own. I'm going to show you this first form, and there are many other forms that are connected to this, but this is just the first 10 movements of our first form. It's generally done with a samurai sword or the katana, can also be done with a wooden sword or bokken, or in a kid's class, use a padded sword or a light wooden sword. So we start here in our stance with our sword at our side. Now, I'm going to step out with my right leg. I'm going to turn my sword to the side. Remember at the beginning how I mentioned to draw the sword, we're going to push with our thumb. I'm going to push with my thumb. My body's turned over this way a little bit, and like a spring, I'm going to spring back as I draw my sword. So I'm turned over, spring back, draw the sword. My next cut is to step back, bring the sword around my head, get my correct grip on the sword, and come back with a downward diagonal strike. Strike number 3 is a thrust. If you're showing this to a class or you're learning it as you're on your own, it's a good idea to learn 2 to 3 moves at a time and not get too far ahead of yourself. So here we'll practice our first 3 techniques. 1, 2, 3. Now with power. Moving on to the next series of techniques. We draw our sword. Overhead cut. Thrust. I'm going to move the sword back to a position we learned earlier. In Japanese, called kasumi. I'm going to step forward and cut diagonally down. Let's count them out. 1 is a draw. 2 is an overhead strike. 3 is a thrust. 4, I pull back to my position. And 5, I cut. 6, I'm going to block over my head. As I turn all the way around, I'm going to cut to the back angle, and my sword's going to go straight across. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's try to follow along. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7 is a thrust. 8, I'm going to let go with my left hand and push forward, pull my sword. 9 is tossing the blood off the sword. 10, I put my sword back into my scabbard, and I've completed the form. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, look forward, toss the blood off the sword. I'm not big on Japanese words, but in Japanese they call that chiburi. Step forward, put my sword back into my scabbard. Okay, now I would like to show the form as it's meant to be done in full speed and power. Let's do that one more time in full speed and power. I'm getting a workout here. Last time, ready? That concludes form number 1.